So the first, some of these you're going to think, that's not a BI feature, that's a DBA feature, but I'm going to tell you why they apply to BI. And there are more features than this, but these are just the ones that I wanted to call out right away. So again, I'm going to do the BI features, and then we'll move forward over to Troy to do some new T-SQL dev, and then we'll see some of the other cool stuff from Chad and the rest of the gang. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the Columnstore Indexes, or Project Apollo. And you guys, like me, probably heard a lot about this leading up to Denali and to some of the CTP releases and that kind of thing. But in reality, what is a Columnstore Index? What does that do for us? And there's some great presentations out on Channel 9 on MSDN, little short videos from some guys on the project team where they kind of explain it a little bit. But basically, Columnstore came out of Vertipack, or the column-based compression and storage engine that they built into Power Pivot in analysis services with the BI Semantic Model. And so it's a new technology that was developed to basically store more data, get better compression, and really be the first database platform to have a true column store type database. And what that means is, instead of storing rows across multiple pages, we store individual columns. We flip the script a little bit, and we store individual columns entirely on their own pages. And what that allows for is significantly increased speed across star joins and multi-table joins. There's a couple of limitations. You can only have one column store index per table. They can't be a filtered index. And there's a few other things that you'll want to read up on. They're still kind of working out what some of those limitations are going to be here before the final release. But in a lot of cases, they've seen things from 100% or 100 times improvement in star join and similar queries. So especially for data warehousing queries and things of that nature, you're really going to get a lot of bang for your buck with this new star join capability from Columnstore indexing. It's really going to give you a lot of cool stuff. The next thing that we've got in BI is a full text search overhaul. So I don't know how many of you guys have used full text search in the past. I haven't done a ton of work with full text search in between 2000 and 2008, and then I started using it again in 2008. And in 2000, it was pretty dismal. I mean, it was not a lot of functionality. It worked pretty well when you had it up and running, but if you had a really large database, it was a lot of overhead. The full text search has brought magnitudes of performance and scale advances because they've significantly improved query execution and concurrent index updates. So now you can do properties for scope searches without requiring your developers to maintain all the file properties separately in the database. The developers can now get a lot of benefit by using near operators. That's going to allow them to specify the distance in between as well as the order of the words. So there's a lot of really cool things we're going to be able to do to make our searching of that data a lot more dynamic. So if you're looking in a BI context and you've got a lot of just sort of unstructured data that you're bringing in, and you only want to search for rows that are going to have value added, maybe it's customer data, maybe it's responses to polls or questions or marketing data or customer complaints. One of the things that we use this for is we've worked with clients to download significant amounts of data from Twitter, folks that are posting things about them, so about their company or their organization. And they're looking for keywords like great customer service experience, or like the one I posted for Sprint the other day that said customer service fail, things like that. That's what they're looking for. They want to be able to pull those out quickly and not have to weed through, 2 billion tweets that are coming across the wire every 15 seconds. So there's a lot of really cool things that are coming out, as well as adding support for a couple of additional languages. I know one of them is Czech and one of them is Greek. So for those of you who do business in the Mediterranean and in Eastern and Western Europe, there's going to be a lot of really cool things coming out for that, and some more full text searching capabilities around that. Now, we can also partition our tables with up to 15,000 partitions now. That's going to help really large sliding window scenarios where you're rolling partitions in, rolling partitions out, and it's going to help streamline your maintenance of your large data sets, especially within file groups where you need data switched in and out based on the needs for your particular data warehouse. So there's a lot of functionality and capability that we can do with 15,000 partitions. In addition, it's going to give you the capability to archive data more flexibly, if that's a word. I'm going to invent words. But it's going to allow you to move more data off while still keeping it partitioned at the granularity that you might like, so that you're still getting partition elimination and faster seek times and all the benefits that typically come with partitioning, but without having to consolidate all those partitions toward the end of toward the end of the life cycle for that data as it goes back maybe onto a little bit slower disk or something of that nature. We've also got Crescent data exploration, and really Crescent is such a sweet little tool, and it's really designed to it rides in SharePoint. And if you guys want to see more about Crescent, Brian did a whole webinar on Crescent just last week or the week before, and it's posted up on our website, so you guys can go stream that later. Don't go there right now, but you can go stream it a little bit later. And he'll walk through some examples. But basically, Crescent's going to give you the ability to do a lot of things that Report Builder should have been able to do with visualizations and other things. And it's got a lot of really nice ways to explore and manipulate your data. Crescent connects directly to Power Pivot workbooks, to other data in SharePoint. It's got a lot of flexibility, and it's really designed as the visualization tool for what I call the Power Pivot generation. So it's going to go in and connect very well with your Power Pivot galleries. You're going to be able to launch Crescent reports directly out of those galleries, and it's all integrated directly into SharePoint. The downside of Crescent, if you're not running SharePoint, you're not going to get Crescent. You can't run Crescent outside of SharePoint. It's a SharePoint integrated product. So as of right now, you're really going to need to have SharePoint to make that work. But that being said, it's built on top of this BI semantic model, which we're going to talk about next. And that BI semantic model provides a really user-friendly view of the data. And for those of you who haven't seen it, essentially it's, instead of building analysis services cube, like you're dragging in dimensions and fact tables and those types of things and lining everything up, it's another way to design cubes up to a certain scale. And so it gives you more of a tabular view, more of an Excel type view, where the end users can see their data, combine it a little bit more logically than they might need to split it out per se in a analysis services environment. And having that capability, we can now publish those semantic models out to SharePoint or out to an analysis services instance, and Power Pivot can connect to them, Crescent can connect to them, reporting services can connect to them. So there's a lot of really good capabilities that are coming out with the new semantic model and Crescent data exploration. The semantic model in Crescent is probably the biggest topic at past Summit this year, and it was one of the biggest topics at TechEd. So if you want to go check out sessions that are streamed from TechEd on TechEd's website from this year, there's a lot of good stuff out there that you can see, some of the visualizations and demos, and of course Brian's webinar that he did a couple weeks ago on our website at pragmaticworks.com. So a couple of other things I want to mention before I turn it over to these guys. Reporting services, end user reporting. Now, what I really mean by that is the capability to not only do better self-service reporting, but also to do some alerting. End-user alerting is going to increase productivity because it's going to be able to provide data-driven alerts. So when it's going to check for data changes in the background and then send an alert message or trigger a report to get sent out.